Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. I am Faith Kevin. Thanks again for joining us this morning. In the headlines, federal government promises Nigeria's passports within 7 days of application. NEC approves nationwide rollout of Naseni solar irrigation pumps. Customs seizes 5.1 billion naira worth of drugs at MMA. Nigeria Customs schedules superintendent applicant pretest for September 22. Rivers Assembly urges Fubara to forward list of commissioners for confirmation. Kwara to open Nigeria's second largest processing plant. On business news, federal government unveils landmark creative economy report, targets 2 million jobs by 2030. Employers urge CBN to lower interest rate amid inflation decline. In the foreign scene, WHO implores more countries to accept Gaza's growing wounded as Israel's assault intensifies. Trump withholds over $400 million military aid to Taiwan to facilitate U.S.-China negotiations. And on sports, Nigerian forward Uchendu leaves Nantes for Australian champions Melbourne City. Nigeria ready to host Africa's first Commonwealth Games in 2030. Now the news. The federal government has assured Nigerians that they will soon be able to obtain their passports within 7 days of application, following a major upgrade of facilities at the Nigerian Immigration Service (NIS). Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo gave the assurance after inspecting the newly completed Data Personalization Center at the NIS headquarters in Abuja, describing it as a game changer in the country's passport production process. According to him, the facility would drastically cut processing time, enabling passports to be printed within 24 hours and delivered within a week. While the old system could only process between 250 and 300 passports per machine daily, the minister disclosed that the new technology now produces about 1,000 passports per hour, giving the NIS capacity to deliver 4,500 to 5,000 passports in a normal workday. He explained that the project marks the first time since the establishment of the NIS in 1963 that Nigeria will operate a centralized, world-class passport personalization facility comparable to those in the United States, United Kingdom, Russia, France, India, and Bangladesh. The minister said the innovation replaces the old model in which passports were personalized in about 96 centers across Nigeria and abroad, an arrangement he described as vulnerable and inefficient. Recalling that the administration inherited a backlog of over 200,000 applications, Tunji-Ojo stressed that the new automated system has eliminated such challenges by reducing human intervention and ensuring accountability. The National Economic Council (NEC) has approved the nationwide deployment of solar-powered irrigation pumps developed by the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure (NASENI) ahead of the 2025 dry season farming cycle. The decision taken at NEC's 152nd meeting at the Presidential Villa, Abuja, underscores confidence in NASENI's capacity to provide homegrown, energy-efficient technologies that tackle Nigeria's food security challenges. For years, farmers across the country have relied on costly fuel-powered pumps for irrigation. The NASENI-designed solar pumps are intended to serve as affordable, sustainable alternatives, helping to cut costs, boost yields, and improve rural livelihood. NASENI's Executive Vice Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Khalil Suleiman Halilu, hailed NEC's resolution as a vote of confidence in the agency's mandate. The Murtala Muhammed Airport Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has announced a major breakthrough, intercepting illicit drugs worth 5.1 billion naira from India and Canada. According to the command, the duty-paid value (DPV) of the seized drugs stood at 3.778 billion naira, marking one of the large seizures in recent times. The Customs Area Controller Michael Awe, disclosed the seizure during a press briefing held at the command's headquarters in Lagos. He explained that the interception was the result of coordinated intelligence and sustained surveillance carried out by officers of the command in partnership with other agencies. Our revealed that no suspects were apprehended in connection with the seizures, but the command has already transferred the items to relevant regulatory authorities. He confirmed that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NAFDAC) and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) will investigate further. The seized substances included 121 packs of Canadian cannabis with a duty-paid value estimated at 1.188 billion naira, which was smuggled under the guise of household items. Also intercepted were 294,000 tablets of tramadol hydrochloride, 225 milligrams, worth 1.389 billion naira, and a drug often abused for its dangerous stimulant and addictive properties. Pregabalin tablets, 300 milligrams, valued at 1.188 billion naira, were also seized. Officials described the drug as a controlled medication often used to treat nerve pain and epilepsy. Customs officers further uncovered Norflex tablets, 50 milligrams, worth 800 million naira, as well as Sardalute tablets, 2 milligrams, valued at 495 million naira. The Nigerian Customs Service (NTS) has announced a pre-test exercise for candidates invited for the Superintendent Cadre, scheduled for Monday, 22nd September 2025 at 3 p.m. According to the statement by the NCS, applicants of the Inspectorate and Assistant Cadres will be contacted later regarding their respective pre-test exercises. The NCS emphasized that candidates scheduled for the exercise are urged to comply strictly with the guidelines to avoid any issues during the test. Following the return of Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to office after a 6-month suspension, the African Democratic Congress (ADC) has said the Supreme Court can no longer remain silent over the interpretation of Section 305 of the Constitution, which provides for emergency powers. The party also condemned the cavalier manner by which President Bola Tinubu had suspended and subsequently reinstated the elected governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, describing the action as whimsically autocratic. It also added that the president's action has set a dangerous precedent. In a statement signed by the party's National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, ADC said it was dismayed by the president's attempt to disguise political brinkmanship as statesmanship. The party concluded that the president's action would define his political legacy. The ADC therefore called on the judiciary, especially the Supreme Court of Nigeria, to take a clear position on the matter. Meanwhile, the Rivers State House of Assembly has also called on Governor Siminalayi Fubara to forward the list of commissioners' nominees for screening and confirmation in line with constitutional provisions. The Assembly also urged the governor to present an appropriation bill that reflects current realities in the state, following the end of the 6-month emergency rule that stemmed from the recent political impasse. At its first legislative sitting on Thursday after the emergency rule, the House, through a motion sponsored by the leader, Honorable Major Jack, and 8 others, set the legislative agenda for the remainder of the 3rd session of the 10th Assembly. Kwara State has finalized plans to establish raw shea butter processing factory in Kayama, the northern senatorial district of the state. Kwara State Governor Abdulrahman Abdulrazak has applauded the ban on exportation of raw shea butter by President Bola Tinubu, saying the step will encourage more production and strengthen the local value chain of the prized cash crop. The president's directive came just as Kwara State prepares to launch its 50-ton shea processing factory in Kayama, the 2nd largest in the country and the biggest owned by the state government. The shea butter factory is one of the major economic projects of Governor Abdulrazak. According to the governor, the presidential directive will spur local production, improve quality, and generate jobs across the value chain. He said the shea butter factory in Kayama is meant to stimulate economic activities in Kwara North, giving its potential to hire several local workers, including women, farmers, and pickers. Kwara and Niger states, among others, are the heart of shea nut trees in Nigeria. Kwara North alone is credited with over 250,000 nature and producing trees spread across 6,000 hectares of land. ComfortTV.channel news returns shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business, the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association (NECA) has applauded the steady decline in Nigeria's inflation rate, which has moderated for 5 consecutive months. This follows the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS's) Consumer Price Index (CPI) report, which shows headline inflation easing to 20.12% in August 2025, down from 21.88% in July. The Director General of NECA, Adewale Smart Oyerinde, stated that this sustained progress presents a crucial opportunity for policymakers, particularly the Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) to reevaluate its prolonged tight monetary policy stance. While the decline in inflation is commendable, he noted that its full benefit will remain muted unless the MPC strategically begins to reduce the monetary policy rate. He, however, expressed concerns that despite a marginal decline, food inflation remains high at 21.87%, continuing to exert immense pressure on households. Oyerinde highlighted that high operating costs driven by raw materials, energy, and logistics remain a threat to sustainability for businesses. For individuals, persistent inflation, he says, continues to erode disposable income and consumer demand, undermining growth and hindering meaningful job creation. The Director General advised that the government must complement monetary easing with broader interventions. He said these include further strengthening the exchange rate to curb imported inflation, investing heavily in agriculture by securing farming communities and expanding mechanization, also addressing structural bottlenecks in energy, transport, and regulation. Still on business, the Federal Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy has released the Creative Economy Data Mapping Report, described as a milestone in unlocking opportunities across Nigeria's creative sector. The report was unveiled in Lagos at the Creative Industries Economic Coordination and Investment Summit, organized by the British Council as part of activities marking the 2025 Creative Economy Week. According to Nneka Ikem Anibeze, PhD, SA Media and Publicity, to the minister, the data mapping will play a critical role in driving economic growth. Anibeze further stressed that the initiative was tied to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. She said it is a crucial step towards achieving the target of creating 2 million creative economy jobs by 2030, noting that the report will serve as a practical tool for private sector actors, investors, government agencies, offering a data-driven roadmap to inform decision-making and accelerate growth in the creative and cultural sectors. In the foreign scene, countries around the world must accept more critically ill and wounded patients from Gaza. This, the World Health Organization said, as the Israeli military advanced into the Strip's largest city. The plea comes after the UK announced that 10 critically ill and injured children from Gaza had landed in the UK for urgent NHS medical treatment this week. The WHO welcomed the move, but top officials told newsmen that there are still 15,600 other patients in need of life-saving care who remain on an evacuation waiting list, including 3,800 children. The concern is that as Israel expands its offensive in Gaza City, the number will only grow. As forces push deeper into Gaza City, Dr. Pipakon implored Israel to restore the medical corridor to the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, which was shut down after the 7th October 2023 Hamas attacks on Israel. He said allowing Palestinian patients from Gaza to be treated in West Bank is the fastest and most cost-effective evacuation route and could save countless lives. The third demand was that within Gaza, hospitals need to be protected. Israel has denied targeting Gaza's healthcare system. Instead, it has accused Hamas of using hospitals and medical centers as operational bases, allegations that Palestinian and international medics and aid organizations say are unfounded. For the past 23 months, it has repeatedly bombed and raided Gaza's hospitals, imposed a siege restricting medical supplies and personnel, and in some cases, according to news reports, investigations, detained, disappeared, and tortured medical staff who have died in detention. Most recently, Medical Aid for Palestinians said Israeli forces bombed Al-Rantizi Medical Center, the only specialist children's hospital left in Gaza. And as a result, multiple UN bodies, including the WHO, have accused Israel of the intentionally dismantling of the Palestinian healthcare system, which has been on the verge of collapse after nearly 2 years of intense bombardment. The WHO said it has recorded nearly 700 attacks on healthcare in Gaza since October 2023, which has left only 19 of the Gaza Strip's 36 hospitals operational in some capacity. At least 94% of all hospitals in the Gaza Strip are damaged or destroyed. Still on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump withheld over $400 million in military aid to Taiwan this summer to advance trade negotiations and a potential summit with China's President Xi Jinping, according to reports. The aid package for Taiwan included more advanced and lethal equipment than previous rounds, featuring munitions and autonomous drones. According to a White House official, the decision on the aid package has not yet been finalized. That's why the pause in aid arms sales continues between U.S. and Taiwanese officials, with a focus on advanced asymmetric weapons such as drones and missiles. Taiwan plans to increase its defense spending to 5% of its GDP by 2030 to bolster its military capabilities amid regional security challenges. Since taking office, Trump has sent mixed signals on China and Taiwan, imposed a trade war, accusing Taipei of technology theft, canceling defense talks, and discouraging visits, while insisting China will not invade Taiwan during his term. On sports news, Super Falcons striker Chinaza Uchendu has signed for Melbourne City FC, sealing a move that adds serious firepower to the Australian champions ahead of the new A-League women's season. The 27-year-old joined French side FC Nantes Feminine, continuing a career that has already taken her across 5 countries. The Nigerian international previously turned out for Rivers Angels in Nigeria, SC Braga in Portugal, Linköping in Sweden, Gyeongju KHNP in South Korea, and Turkish giant Galatasaray, where she won a league title. Once a regular face in Nigeria's Super Falcons setup, Uchendu has 10 caps and was part of the squad that lifted the 2018 Women's Africa Cup of Nations. She also featured at the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup, helping Nigeria reach the round of 16. Still on sports, President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's readiness to host the world-class 2030 Commonwealth Games, and aiming to become the first African nation to achieve this historic milestone. Represented by his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, Tinubu gave the assurance during a visit by the Commonwealth Sport Bid. During a visit by the Commonwealth Sport Bid Evaluation Committee to the Presidential Villa, Abuja, the President reiterated Nigeria's commitment to hosting an inclusive, diverse, and world-class 2030 Commonwealth Games on African soil. Gbajabiamila held strategic meeting with a delegation led by Darim Hall, Commonwealth Director Games and Assurance, and members of the 2030 Evaluation Committee. According to President Tinubu, the Commonwealth champions unity and diversity in Africa deserves its moment after nearly a century. He said the Games have never been hosted in Africa since inception in 1930, making Nigeria's bid historic and overdue. Mainasara Ilo, chairman of the bid committee, presented Nigeria's proposal, highlighting key plans and innovations. He revealed that Nigeria proposes 15 sports, with football introduced to boost excitement, global visibility, and audience engagement. Darren Hall, Commonwealth Director of Games and Assurance, thanked President Tinubu and the Nigerian team for their warm welcome. He said the Commonwealth, now comprising 56 nations, is aiming for greater diversity as it approaches its 100-year milestone. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, Minister of Aviation Festus Kayamo, Minister of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy Hanatu Musa Musawa, Minister of Housing and Urban Development Amadu Musa Dangiwa, and Minister of Police Affairs Ibrahim Gaidam attended the meeting and made statements in support of their bid. They all assured of Nigeria's readiness to host the Games, with each focusing on strategic sectors that would ensure a hitch-free sporting fiesta. The Commonwealth Games General Assembly will decide the host city in November 2025 after thorough evaluation of both bids. Nigeria and India are the two official bidders for the 2030 Games, with Abuja and Ahmedabad as their proposed host cities. And that's our news bulletin for you today, but before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Federal government promises Nigerians passports within 7 days of application. NEC approves nationwide rollout of Naseni solar irrigation. Customs seizes 5.1 billion naira worth of drugs at MMA. Nigeria Customs schedules superintendent applicant pretest for September 22. Rivers Assembly urges Fubara to forward list of commissioners for confirmation. Kwara to open Nigeria's second largest processing plant. On business news, federal government unveils landmark creative economy report. Targets 2 million jobs by 2030. Employers urge CBN to lower interest rates amid inflation decline. On the foreign scene, WHO implores more countries to accept Gaza's growing wounded as Israel's assault intensifies. And on sports, Nigeria's forward Uchendu leaves Nantes for Australian champions Melbourne City. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel, and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. I am Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed.